there, and welcome to Lesson 6 of Simple Start Homeschooling. In this video, Laura and I will be discussing the question, do I actually need to follow a schedule?
We highly recommend that you have one, but the key is having a schedule that works specifically for your family. You don't have to have yours be the same as someone else's. You get to do what's best for you.
For example, are you and your children early birds, or do you like to sleep in? Do they like to sleep in? Do you like to complete all your requirements in the morning and then have your afternoons free? Do you want to do school year-round, but at a slower pace with lots of breaks? Or do you prefer to focus on academics between September and May, like the standardized public school system?
You get to choose the schedule and style for your family. But in our experience, at least having a general plan for your family communicates clear expectations and brings a lot of peace and clarity to your home.
I'd like to share with you what I chose to do. And it worked really well for our family. We chose to start our school year the day after Labor Day, the same day that the Minnesota school system started their classes in the new year. But we ended our school early, usually by May 10th, which was about a month before the public school system did. We were able to do this because homeschooling allowed us to complete all of our assignments in a shorter period of time. We also did it because, truth be told, we had a swimming pool. And we wanted our kids to get into the pool and help with getting the yard ready for the new summer season when their friends would be joining us. And we didn't want our kids to miss one day of enjoying the exercise and the sunshine.
We also did a fabulous thing. We took the whole month of December off from schoolwork, other than reading. That month, we focused on the joy and the holiness of the Christmas season. We decorated, we made homemade gifts, we helped our mama dress and stamp cards, we wrapped presents, we baked cookies, we served meals to shut-ins and visited the elderly. We watched Christmas movies, we read Christmas books. We forgot what day of the week it was, and we just simply enjoyed the season. It was a super magical time because we took the crazy rush out of the season and it gave us time to make more family memories.
That was really, really a beautiful time in our lives. I loved those months of December. Creating a schedule each year took some effort, but it wasn't hard once I had their chosen curriculum right in front of me. And this is how I did it. Midsummer, I created a 3-ring binder for each one of my children. It was their individual assignment book for the entire school year. And then within that binder, I had each of their subjects that they had books to be learning from. I counted the weeks between the day after Labor Day and the first week of May. It was approximately 30 weeks once we removed that month of December from their schedule. This schedule still left a minimum of 1 field trip at least, September, October, November, January, February, March, April, and then we did several field trips in December and in May. I then take each subject, math, science, history, geography, English, and divided their school books, their actual academic books, by 30 weeks. So for example, if the math book had 200 assignment pages, I took 200 divided by 30, the 30 weeks, and placed that number of pages for them to do each week in their binder. Week 1 would have math, like for example, page 1 to 7 and a quiz. Week 2 would have page 8 to 15, and so on. This is a bit of the traditional homeschool style at work in our overall eclectic style, but this helped me make sure that they completed all of their subject book work. That was very important to me. I didn't want them to get behind. I wanted to make sure that academically they weren't missing anything, and they didn't. You will learn your family rhythm as time goes by. I found that after that first year, I changed it up a bit the next year. I scheduled their book work to be a little more intense the first half of the year, knowing that after Christmas in Minnesota, we sometimes get the winter blahs around here. And if it hit, the interest level in schoolwork also diminished. So I could lighten up their weekly spring schedule. That worked really well. So maybe I scheduled 10 pages of math a week, September to January, and then January to February, they only had to do 5 pages of math each week. And yet they completed their math book by the year end. You're in charge. You get to decide what works best for your child's learning.
I found it super clear what my mom's expectations were for the week in each subject. And then I had the freedom that if I was enjoying the subject, I could keep going if I wanted. Sometimes I'd just do all of my math for the week in one sitting because I was on a roll and I knew what was expected of me, which is a bit of that Montessori style where I could work as long as I was interested in the subject.
Though it took me several days to plan this out for each one of our 4 children each summer, having that binder for each one of them made everyone's plan crystal clear. That helped me a lot, gave me a lot of peace. I knew that I wasn't missing teaching them their assignments, and I had confidence that we were completing the academic requirements at each grade level or above.
We had a bookshelf that was assigned to each of us, and we kept our binder on that shelf along with all of our main subject books and anything that we were reading. We checked off our assignments as they were completed, and so my mom knew what we completed for our work each week. This form of scheduling brought a lot of freedom to our homeschool atmosphere because we knew what we had to learn and complete each week. And so it also helped us teach time management and how to be self-starters.
Because I was aware of what they were studying, I was always looking for extra ways to help them learn more about that topic. For example, when one of the kids were learning about the presidents, I found a song that taught all 4 kids all of the presidents' names in order. Actually, I kept listening and I finally learned all the presidents' names in order too.
I could still sing that song.
When they each could recite all of them, we celebrated and walked 4 blocks to the Dairy Queen.
When I was in 4th grade, the scope and sequence of my education stated that 4th grade includes the study of the state that you live in, learning your state bird, the state flower, those sorts of things. So we did some unit studies, and my whole family went to all the points of interest in Minnesota. We visited many state parks. We even walked across the small stones at the mouth of the Mississippi River. It was a year-long adventure for all 4 of us kids to learn together, and my parents enjoyed it too.
We really did.
Sometimes if our science was studying oceanography, my mom would have us watch the Magic School Bus show when it took trips under the water, or we would schedule a visit to an aquarium doing unit studies.
I provided some homeschooling consulting to a mom who was taking her family to Europe for the year because her husband's work was taking them there. That's one of the beauties of homeschooling. You can teach from anywhere. And there's so much to learn in this great big world. So she made a schedule for her family that focused on Europe using unit studies. And while they were there, they were able to experience it firsthand.
Exactly. Besides creating your schedule for the year, you'll want to decide the timing of your school day. Took our family a little while to get a schedule that worked for us, but we did.
Again, because each of our kids knew from their binders their personal weekly expectations, they were free to grab their books, start early if they'd like, but my personal requirement was that everyone was working on their school assignments by 10 a.m. Being able to focus and spend extra time when needed, assignments were often completed by 2 o'clock or 3 at the very latest. I chose to begin our school days on the later end because personally, I'm a morning person.
And I am not.
And I needed to start my day with a little space for quiet time and for prayer. And as our kids, as they got older, they were allowed to be home without an adult at different times. And so I sometimes would take a walk in the morning or I'd do a quick errand before everyone was up and at 'em.
We had daily expectations. We had to make our beds, we had to brush our teeth, get dressed, eat breakfast, be ready to start school for the day by 10 a.m. I like to start on the earlier side of things. I like to get rolling because it wasn't uncommon for me to pull out my binder, maybe even on Sunday evening, and start my schoolwork because I wanted a head start on my expectations. I liked that if I got my school done early, I might have a day or 2 or more off to do whatever I wanted. That drove my siblings a little bit crazy, but I absolutely loved it. What I would usually do with my time was read, spend extra time by our pool, get together with my friends. We had a lot of other homeschooled friends that we could spend time with during the day. I loved being in control of my schedule.
I've mentioned it before, but I just want to do it again. At the end of each year, I place each child's art projects, writing assignments, book work, and these schedules we created in the bin. If I were ever to be audited on our education from our school district, I knew I could pull this bin out as proof of their great year of education. Besides, it's wonderful to look back at. I kept these bins in our garage, stacked up tall, with their names and the years on the front. They held years of love and learning in them. We wanted our kids to be kids. They worked so hard during the day, and they were kids who played hard in the afternoon and evenings. Outside, they'd play basketball in our driveway, and we already told you about our swimming pool, We'd have friends over all the time. We had our home be the gathering place.
Having a schedule can sound like it would be restrictive and inhibiting, but it actually often brings more flexibility and freedom because you know that the basic expectations of the year are being met. If you need to take a day or a week off, you have an idea of what needs to be done to make that time up without feeling behind. You can focus on your family because you aren't making plans for the day, week, or month on the fly. Those plans aren't taking up your valuable headspace. And not only that, but your kids will understand what's required of them and when, and they're given the chance to meet and exceed your expectations.
At the end of the day, you get to decide
Yes.
what your schedule looks like and how structured your days, weeks, and months will be. That is beautiful freedom. Again, one of the beauties of homeschooling is having control over your days and making it fit your family and your kids. Are you starting to see the theme here? Homeschooling truly does bring freedom to your family.
Make sure you visit the resources for this lesson to download our scheduling templates. We'll see you in lesson 7, where we'll discuss the question, how do I homeschool in high school? See you then.